Students of this group, my today's lecture is about electric field at a point due to a disk of charge. Let us move towards this topic, which is electric field at a point due to a disk of charge. So for this purpose, consider a circular plastic disk of radius r. Here it is given in the diagram. Look at the position of my cursor. This is a circular plastic disk of radius r carrying a uniform surface charge density or surface charge density. Here it is surface charge density, not surface charge density. Correct word is surface charge density. Sigma. This sigma surface charge density means charge per unit area on its upper surface. All the charges are uniformly distributed over its upper surface, which is in the form of a circular disk, and all the charges are uniformly distributed everywhere around the disk and on the surface of the disk. We find the electric field at point P. Electric field at point P, this one is the point P at which my cursor is located. Okay, this point P is at a distance z from the center of the disk. As you all know, this is the point at which we wish to find the value of electric field. Divide the disk into concentric rings and then calculate the electric field by adding up. So this one is the ring. We can only find the value of electric field at point P by dividing this disk into concentric ring. Concentric means very narrow, thin rings which cannot be further made thinner or narrow. These are the concentric rings, and then we can calculate the electric field by adding up. By adding up the electric field due to each concentric ring. Consider one of such of radius omega and width d omega, then its total charge is. Suppose this one, look at the position of my cursor, this one is one of the concentric rings. Its radius, the radius of this concentric ring is represented by omega and its width is d omega. Radius, this one is omega and the width of this is d omega. Then its total charge dq is equal to sigma over dA. Surface charge density is charge per unit area. As we are considering just one of the ring electric field due to just one of the ring, so in any one concentric ring the charge is considered dq. dq is equal to sigma 2 pi omega into d omega as dA. dA, here omega is replaced by r and we have considered only one of the concentric ring, so it is replaced by d omega, which is represented by width. This is equal to area, where dA is equal to 2 pi omega. D omega is the differential area of the ring. Since the electric field due to this ring at point P is at point P, you can see here that this concentric ring is at a distance r, small r, from this point P, and this is the axis which is passing through the center of the disk. So dEz is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught dq over r square into cos theta. Electric field due to this concentric ring at point P. This is represented by this line, this R line. Look at the position of my cursor. Then dEz is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught. Putting the value of dq here, sigma 2 pi omega d omega divided by z square plus omega square into cos theta value, base over hypotenuse, this will become z over under root z square plus omega square. This can be done by the help of Pythagoras theorem. Then dEz is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught sigma 2 pi omega d omega divided by z square plus omega square. Then we have combined these two terms, so its power will become cube 3 by 2. dEz is equal to sigma z over 4 pi epsilon naught z square plus omega square. इसको ऊपर लेके जाएंगे, then this power will become minus 3 by 2 omega into d omega. Then integrating the above relation. So integrating this relation, then we will get, by integrating this one, integral dEz is equal to sigma z over integrating this equation by putting the range 0 to r. From this diagram, this range, center, look at the position of my cursor, center of the cursor, center of the disk is 0 and its outermost rim, the distance from the center to outermost rim is r. So the range of this integral is given 0 to r. Now here, after integration, this value will be z square plus omega square raised to power minus 3 by 2 into 2 omega dw. After integration, this value will become Ez is equal to sigma z over 4 epsilon naught z square plus omega square minus 3 by 2. This will be, we shall get it by, after integrating this equation, minus 1 by 2 and putting the limits 0 to r. Here these are the limits which are 0 to r. Ez is equal to sigma z over 4 epsilon naught minus 2 over z square plus omega square raised to power 1 by 2 limits 0 to r. So then again this equation by putting under root here, by replacing the power of 1 by 2 by under root. Now after rearranging or modifying this equation, Ez is equal to sigma z over 4 epsilon naught into 2 by z minus 2 over under root z square plus r square. Then taking z out from this portion, and then z is cancelled by z and also z will appear in this form. Then this will be given as, and also 2 value is taken out by taking it common. So then Ez is equal to sigma over 2 epsilon naught 1 minus z over under root z square plus r square, which is the relation for electric field at point P due to the charged disk. Here is the case, if r means radius of the disk is very large than z, then equation 4 will become Ez is equal to sigma over 2 epsilon naught. This z will become negligible, so in this equation the value of z will become 0. Then Ez is equal to sigma over 2 epsilon naught, which is the field due to an infinite sheet of charge. This is the required value of electric field due to an infinite sheet of charge at a point P. Okay, another topic which is about electric field intensity due to an infinite line of charge. In this figure, there is an infinite line of charge for which you do not know about the limits from where they have started and from where they are about to end. So, consider an infinite line of charge having the linear charge density lambda. Lambda is charge per unit length. We want to calculate the electric field intensity E at a distance y from the line of charge. This line means that we want to find the electric field intensity at point P, and this point P is at a distance y from this line of charge. So you can see here that this is at a distance y from this line of charge. So to compute or to calculate the value of electric field intensity at point P due to an infinite line of charge on which charges are equally and uniformly distributed on the entire length of the over an entire length of the line. So here consider a small element of charge dq. For this we divide this line into small infinitesimal elements that cannot be further divided. Look at the position of my cursor in the bottom of this diagram. You will see here dq. We have taken a small element of charge which is represented by the differential element. This is given dq. dq, this is at a distance z from the center of the central line, from the center of the line. Center of the line is given O, and this is at a distance z from the O. The element, the length of the element is represented by dz, and this dz is at a distance z from the central point O of the line. So dq, electric field intensity due to this dq at point P. electric field intensity due to this dq at point P. This is in this direction. The electric field vector is given in this direction dE. The electric field intensity due to dq will be dE, and at this point we wish to find electric field intensity. Since the linear charge density lambda is equal to dq over dz means charge per unit length, so dq is equal to lambda dz. Also from the figure we have r square is equal to y square plus z square. Here look at this one. dq is at a distance r from this point P, or you can also say that the point P is at a distance r from this dq. Okay, then y square, this is equal to y square, this one is y square plus z square, means base over perpendicular. This one is base and this is perpendicular, and this one is hypotenuse. Then putting the above values in equation 1 in this equation, then it will become d is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught lambda dz over y square plus z square. The vector dE has two components which are, here there are two components along this y line. By resolving the vector dE into its components along this y line, the component is dEy, and along the z line the component is dEz. Okay, this dE vector is resolved into its components. Along this y line there will be a component dEy and another component which is perpendicular to it. This is dEz component. Now look at here, dEy component, this is equal to dE cos theta, and z component, this is equal to dE sin theta. You can see here that this one, in this portion, this is along base, so this is dEy is equal to dE cos theta, and this is dEz along perpendicular, so this is dE sin theta. Then the y and z components of the resultant field at point P are given by Ey is equal to integral dEy limits z is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity cos theta dE. Ez is equal to integral dEz limits minus integral to plus integral sin theta into dE. For every charge element at point z direction, there is a corresponding element at negative z direction such that the z components of the electric fields cancel each other at point P. You can see in this diagram that in this diagram dEz component due to this differential element, due to the electric field created by this differential element dE by this element which is in the bottom, dEz will be in upward direction, will be in positive direction. So for the charge when it is taken at the upward direction of this line, the direction of dE will be downward, will be in this direction. Look at the position of my cursor, this will be in this direction, and dEz component will be downward. This is downwards, opposite to its positive direction. Negative, it will be in negative direction. So both positive and negative directions will cancel out each other. So sin theta component will be cancelled, only the cos theta component will retain there. So E is equal to Ey is equal to 2 cos theta into dE. So why there is cos 2, why 2 is represented here? You can see in this line the electric field E points entirely in the y direction because the contribution to E from the top and the bottom halves of the rod are equal. So we can write it as one is from the bottom portion and along this y line, and the other is from the upper portion along this y line. So these two add up to give 2 dE cos theta limits 0 to minus infinity to limits 0 to infinity, because the central point is 0. Again putting the value of dE from equation 2 in equation 3, from equation 2 which is given in previous slide, and then we will have E is equal to 2 into So E, by putting these values from equation 2 in equation 3, then E is equal to 2 integral z to 0 to limits z is equal to positive infinity cos theta into 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught lambda dz divided by y square plus z square. This is according to Pythagoras theorem. E is equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught integral z is equal to limits z is equal to 0 to z is equal to infinity cos theta dz divided by y square plus z square. From the figure we have tan theta is equal to z over y. Tan theta is perpendicular over base, so from figure we can illustrate it as tan theta is equal to z over y. Here y is base and z here is perpendicular. So z is equal to y tan theta by taking its differentiating it by taking its derivative or differentiating it, then dz is equal to y secant square theta d theta. Also from equation 5 we have when z is equal to 0, then theta is equal to 0 degree, and when z is equal to infinity, then theta is equal to pi by 2. Now putting these values in this equation, then E is equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught in limits integral limits of the integral theta is equal to 0 to pi by 2 cos theta y secant square theta divided by y square plus y square tan square theta. By putting these values here, putting the value of z and then putting the value of y and putting the value of z here, z square will become y square tan square theta and value of y square as such there. Then E is equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught integral limits 0 to pi by 2 cos theta y secant square theta over y square by taking y square common and taking out of this brackets y square, then under within brackets 1 plus tan square theta. Then E is equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught into y with integral limit 0 to pi by 2 cos theta secant square theta divided by secant square theta. Y is cancelled by this square of y and this y is placed, and now this single y is placed here. Then secant square theta will be cancelled by theta square secant square theta, on only cos theta will remain there. E is equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught into y. After integrating it, this will become sin theta with limits 0 to pi by 2. E is equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught into y. By putting its limits sin pi by 2 minus sin 0 degree, E is equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught into y. Sin pi by 2, this is equal to sin 90 degree. Sin 90 degree is equal to 1. And then sin 0 degree is equal to 0. 1 minus 0, then this equation will become E is equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught into y, which is the relation for electric field at point P, a distance y from infinite line of charge. This is the required expression for the electric field intensity at a point P due to an infinite line of charge. This is all about today's lecture.